Section 1. The voice that never stops. You hear it in the shower. You hear it when you're trying to fall asleep. You hear it while you're smiling, while you're working, while you're with friends. That constant voice, narrating, judging, planning, comparing, replaying the past. You don't remember choosing it. You don't remember installing it. But somehow, it's always there. The voice says you're not enough. It reminds you of what you did wrong in 2018. It imagines future arguments you haven't had yet. It picks at your insecurities like a scab that never heals. And worst of all, you've mistaken that voice for yourself. This is the illusion, the unconscious lie. But the voice in your head is your identity. But what if it isn't? What if that voice is an echo, a reflex, a parasite of pain pretending to be you? Eckhart Tolle would say, that voice is not you, it is the pain body. And your first step toward freedom is realizing it's not who you are. In The Power of Now, published in 1997, Tolle introduces this revolutionary idea. He describes the pain body as a semi-autonomous energy form, a field of stored emotional suffering. It's not just memory. It's alive. It feeds. It waits. It uses your mind as a host. That internal voice, the one whispering that something is wrong with you, it often isn't your voice at all. It's the voice of unprocessed grief, shame, fear, humiliation. It speaks in your tone. It uses your vocabulary. But it was born in pain, and it survives by creating more of it. You've heard it after rejection, after a breakup, after you failed, after you didn't speak up. It replays the moment again and again, not to help you, but to keep itself alive. The pain body thrives on identification. It wants you to confuse it for your soul. Because once you believe that you are the voice, you obey it. You defend it. You live for it. This isn't a theory. It's something Tolle lived. In 1977, he was on the edge of suicide. Until one night he said to himself, I cannot live with myself any longer. And then it hit him, if I cannot live with myself, then who am I? And who is the self? That question shattered the illusion. He realized the internal voice was not his essence. He wasn't thinking. He was the space around it. He was the one who noticed it. That moment, what Tolle called a state of complete inner stillness, marked the beginning of his transformation. From suffering to serenity, from identity to awareness. But let's be honest, you might not believe this yet. It sounds abstract, maybe even dismissive of pain. You've lived with that voice for so long, it feels familiar. It feels like you. And this is where most people get stuck. Because the pain body doesn't just whisper, it fights back. It doesn't want to be seen. Because to be seen is to lose power. You might say, but this voice is helping me. It keeps me sharp. It prepares me for the worst. It's how I stay in control. But here's the truth, the voice isn't helping you. It's imprisoning you. It's turning your own mind into a battlefield. And worse, you've been fighting yourself. Why do you feel exhausted after doing nothing? Why does silence make you anxious? Why do you replay conversations hours after they're over? Because you're not resting. You're rehearsing. You're resisting. You're running simulations in your head that feel like life or death. And Eckhart Tolle says this is the pain body feeding. It loves conflict. It loves tension. It loves staying alive. But here's the radical claim. It's not permanent. It's not essential. And it's not you. If you can witness the voice, then you are not the voice. If you can observe the thought, then you are not the thought. The pain body lives in you, but it is not you. And the moment you realize this, you have already begun to dismantle it. So why does this matter? Because your peace depends on it. Because your relationships depend on it. Because your future depends on learning to separate yourself from that voice. Tolle's entire philosophy is built on this first step: disidentification, realizing that the ego, the mental self-image, the thinker, the pain body, is not who you really are. What you are is the presence behind the voice, the space beneath the noise, the awareness that notices the storm but is not the storm. And this shift is not intellectual. It is existential. It must be felt. It must be embodied. But before you can get there, you have to understand what this voice is doing to you. How it thinks, why does it stay, and what it costs you to let it run your life. That's what we're going to uncover next. We're going to dissect the compulsive nature of thought. We're going to expose the pain body's hunger, and we're going to build the tools to see clearly, to choose presence over panic, to choose stillness over story, to choose truth over noise. Let's begin. Section 2. The pain that thinks. Why can't you stop thinking? Why does your mind replay the breakup from 5 years ago? Why does one insult from your childhood still echo in every room you enter? Why does your anxiety feel louder in silence? It's not just overthinking. It's not just stress. It's the pain body thinking through you. Eckhart Tolle calls the pain body an energy field of old, but still very much alive emotion. It's not metaphorical. It's felt. You can sense it during moments of irrational overreaction, depression spikes, or cycles of unexplainable dread. And when it activates, it hijacks your thoughts, turning pain into a narrative. This is the part most people miss. You're not just addicted to thinking. You are addicted to emotionalized thought, thought fused with suffering, thought weaponized by memory. Tolle isn't alone in this view. Carl Jung once warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. The pain body is precisely that. Unconscious pain directing your mind, your reactions, your fate, while you believe it's just you thinking. That's the trap. It doesn't feel like possession. It feels like being responsible, being prepared, being in control. But it's not control. It's fear, dressed up as focus. And fear is the favorite food of the pain body. Tolle writes, the pain body needs to feed on the same kind of energy it is made of, pain. That means it needs conflict. It needs anxiety. It needs something to hate, or at least something to worry about. This is why you'll feel fine, and then suddenly you're arguing with someone in your head. You're defending yourself. You're imagining failure. You're rehearsing rejection. Why? Because the pain body saw an opening, and it started thinking for you. But how did it get there? Tolle's explanation is straightforward. Unprocessed pain becomes internal structure. When you're too young to process abandonment, it stores. When you suppress humiliation or rage, it stores. These frozen emotional residues accumulate and eventually become a part of your identity. Not in reality, but in your unconscious ego. And that's exactly how the pain body survives, by fusing itself with your sense of self. You don't just feel pain. You become the one who suffers, the misunderstood one, the betrayed one, the unlovable one. This echoes Friedrich Nietzsche's insight in The Gay Science, written in 1882, split 1882 man, in his pride, created suffering as his own possession. Nietzsche believed that people often cling to suffering because it gives them identity. And identity, even a painful one, is easier to live with than uncertainty. Krishnamurti, another voice in this lineage, once said, "The ability to observe without evaluating is the highest form of intelligence." This is precisely the practice Tolle recommends. Not suppressing thoughts, but watching them without fusing with them. So when the pain body rises, when you feel triggered, invaded, hijacked by old emotions, don't react. Observe. Say to yourself, this is the pain body. not with shame, but with precision, with clarity, with awareness. Tolle explains, the moment you become aware of the pain body, you're no longer completely identified with it. A higher dimension of consciousness has come in. This practice of witnessing without identifying is ancient. The Buddha called it sati, mindfulness, the act of observing one's inner world with calm detachment. He taught in the Dhammapada, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. But what happens when your thoughts aren't yours, when they come from pain? That's when mindfulness isn't just healing, it's liberation. Even modern neuroscience supports this. Studies of the default mode network, the brain system responsible for self-referential thinking, show it lights up during rumination, shame spirals, and regret. This part of the brain is overactive in people with depression and anxiety. It's where the pain body hides, which means the thoughts that cause you the most suffering are not signs of awareness, they are signs of captivity. And recognizing them as such is your key to freedom. So how do you begin? Don't argue with the voice. Don't try to silence it. Don't try to fix the pain. Witness it. Feel it. Let it rise. Let it pass. You are not the storm. You are the sky. You are not the story. You are the awareness in which the story unfolds. The pain body will fight. It will whisper, you're being naive. It will say, this is who you are. That's the final illusion. Because Tolle reminds us, you are the light of presence, the awareness that is prior to thought and emotion. So when the spiral begins, when your inner voice gets loud and cruel and repetitive, you don't need to panic. You just need to notice, pause, observe, breathe, and remind yourself, the voice is not you. The pain is not permanent. The thought is not true. You are what remains after the thought dissolves. You are presence, and presence doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. And that's what we'll uncover next, who you were before the voice, before the pain, before the storm. Section 3, who you were before the thought. Who were you before the thought? Before the fear, before the role, before the voice in your head started narrating your entire life. Can you remember? Not with your mind, but with your being. Eckhart Tolle says, to realize that you are not your thoughts is when you begin to awaken spiritually. And this awakening isn't about religion. It's not about dogma. It's about seeing clearly who you are underneath the noise. Because you were not born with this voice in your head. You were born with presence, with stillness, with awareness. Watch a child. They're not thinking, how do I look? They're not replaying yesterday's mistake. They are just here, wide-eyed, alive, unfiltered. You were like that once, until the world taught you to shrink, to adapt, to obey the voice that said, don't trust yourself, be who they want, stay safe. And that's how the ego formed, layer by layer, story by story. It wasn't malicious, it was protective. But now it's outgrown its usefulness. It's a cage you forgot you were wearing. Tolle explains that the ego is not who you are, but who you think you are. A self-image built from memory, fear, and comparison. It thrives on one thing: separation. Separation from others. Separation from the present. Separation from yourself. It says, I am this, I am not that, and most dangerously, I must become something else to be worthy. But presence tells a different story. Presence says you are already whole. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to fix yourself into lovability. You don't have to solve your way into peace. You simply need to return. Return to the space beneath the thought. Return to the breath. Return to the now. Because presence doesn't speak in words. It speaks in stillness. It arrives in pauses. in the moment between reaction and response, between emotion and meaning. You've felt it. When you watched the sunrise and forgot your problems. When you hold someone's hand, time slows down. When you laughed so deeply you stopped thinking. Those were glimpses, not of escape, but of truth. In those moments, you weren't absent. You were most present. You weren't your ego. You were aware of yourself. And that's who you've been all along. But then, the voice returns. It always does. The thought, the judgment, the anxiety. And in that moment, you have a choice. To merge with it or to observe it. To say, this is me, or to say, this is a passing cloud in the sky of my awareness. This is the muscle you must build. This is the spiritual practice Tolle teaches. Not escape, not suppression, not self-improvement in the egoic sense, but presence, witnessing, being. He writes, "The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it, which means your power isn't in changing everything outside you. It's in changing your relationship with what's inside you. You will still feel pain, that you will no longer become the pain. You will still hear the voice, but you will no longer mistake it for the truth. And that is freedom. Not the absence of thought, but the ability to see through it. But this clarity will not come from philosophy alone. It comes from direct experience, from practice, from presence. So how do you return to who you were before the thought? Start by feeling your body. Feel the aliveness in your hands, your feet, your breath. This grounds you in the now, not in ideas, but in being. Watch your thoughts like cars passing on a road. Let them come. Let them go. Do not chase them. Do not fight them. Simply notice. Name the pain body when it arises. Not to shame it, but to liberate yourself from its grip. And above all, keep remembering. You are the space, not the storm. You are the stillness, not the thought. You are the presence, not the pain. Let this remembering become a rhythm, a return, a daily ritual of waking up again and again from the trance of identification. Because the more often you return, the more often you remain. And the more often you remain, the less you suffer. And that is not theory, that is transformation. But there's one more step. You know now what the voice is. You've seen the addiction to thought. You've felt the pain body's grip. You've remembered who you are beneath it all. Now it's time to embody that knowledge, to live it, to bring it into every room, every breath, every moment. That's where we'll go next, into the stillness beneath the storm. Section 5, the stillness beneath the storm. You don't need to add more. You need to return to less. Less noise, less proving, less thinking, just presence. This is what Eckhart Tolle calls the power of now. Not the power to change the past, not the power to control the future, but the power to meet life as it is, with nothing but your full awareness. Because when you are present, the pain body cannot feed. The ego cannot dominate. The voice in your head loses its grip. The thoughts still come, but you no longer chase them. You watch. You breathe. You remain. Tolle writes, "Realize deeply, but the present moment is all you have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. And that's what you must do. Sit in silence for 5 minutes a day, no agenda. Feel your breath. When the mind races, speak less, listen more. Notice before reacting. Witness before identifying. These are small choices, but they are portals. Each one brings you back to the center, back to the stillness beneath the storm. And from that stillness, a new life begins. A life where you are not ruled by your past. A life where thoughts are tools, not tyrants. A life where pain is met, not feared. A life where you don't need to fix yourself, only to find yourself again and again. So here is your call to action. Stop fighting the voice. Start watching it. Stop running from emotion. Start feeling it without judgment. Stop postponing peace. Start living now. Because the voice in your head is not you. The pain body is not you. The ego is not you. You are the one who sees. You are the stillness behind the story. You are the awareness that cannot be broken. So return, and when you forget, return again. That's the practice. That's the path. That's your freedom.